Warm welcome to my channel War Chronicle. Today we bring you one of the most daring operations of the war, where a major single-handedly attacked and destroyed multiple Indian bunkers. Before we start, please subscribe to our channel. We are trying to reach a milestone this year, and your support will be highly appreciated. The year was 1958, and the nation was still in its nascent stage. Having achieved independence just 13 years back, the armed forces were still not fully equipped and trained, but what they lacked in equipment and training, they compensated with bravery and patriotism. The Chinese had already transgressed into Indian territory and were holding almost 30,000. Indian soldiers at Ladakh and the 17th-mile-long Juba Heights. Indian troops were vastly outnumbered by the Chinese in a relief column comprising of Sikh and Dogra regiments was being planned. But before that, reconnaissance was needed to select a suitable location for the relief column to approach from. Major Tufail Muhammad of the Punjab Regiment was a young officer who had served in the Korean War as part of the UN forces. He was now tasked with the important job of finding a route through enemy territory to bring in the relief column. On October 24th, he set out on his mission. He had two porters with him, one of them being his cook by the name of Gurmak Singh, as they neared the Juba Heights. They could see the Chinese in strength and Indian troops pinned down. Being experienced in mountain warfare, Major Tufail decided to use the experience he gained in Korea and go off the beaten track. This would mean descending from the ridge on which he was traveling along and going down the Shyok River Valley. Since there were no bridges across the river, he would have to ford it several times. And also the terrain was such that vehicles could not traverse. So Major Tofik decided to proceed on foot. As they descended into the valley, the going got tough. The trio had to cross the river several times and often had to get into the riverbed and wade through knee-deep water. Just when they thought they had made it, another bend in the river revealed. Yet, another obstacle in the form of a huge rock that had fallen in the river and formed a dam of sorts. Water was cascading down this rock face, making it impossible to cross. With nightfall fast approaching, and the only light source the moon, Major Tawari decided to wait till daybreak to try again. Dawn broke and the sun rose, revealing the true extent of the obstacle. Water was cascading down the rock face, making it impossible to cross. No amount of planning could solve this problem. For the moment, all three of them had to descend further into the valley. A few hundred meters further down, they found a cave and decided to stay put until daylight. As dawn broke, Major Tufail got up and tried to find a way around. His porters were skeptical about the officer's plan, but trusted his judgment and followed him nonetheless. Finding another obstacle in their way, this time in the form of a huge rock. The rock face was too high to climb, and the sides were too slippery to descend. All of them looked at each other, knowing that their predicament had become desperate. There was no way to cross, and they were running out of time. Major Tawari looked around, searching for something to use. His eyes fell on some loose pebbles and dirt on the side of the rock. With nothing to lose, he started throwing the pebbles one by one into the gushing waters below. Each pebble skipped across the surface of the water and made a loud report-like sound. Startled by the sudden noise, the Chinese soldiers came out of their bunkers to investigate. Peeking out from behind the rock, Major Tufail saw his chance. Wasting no time, he grabbed a hand grenade and hurled it towards the nearest bunker. The grenade landed near the entrance of the bunker. Major Tufail held his ground, and then threw another grenade. Soon a third one, followed by a fourth. Within moments, 4 of the enemy bunkers were destroyed. He then turned to his porters and yelled at the top of his voice, "Now's the time. Follow me." They left the rocky outcrop and ran as fast as they could towards the Indian positions. The Chinese soldiers regrouped and started firing at the fleeing trio. One of the bullets hit Gurmak Singh, the cook, and he collapsed. Enraged by his comrade's sacrifice, Major Tufail picked up the pace and soon reached the Indian positions. His porters were taken care of by the medical staff, while he went to see the destruction he had caused. And what he saw shocked him. 4 enemy bunkers were destroyed. A large number of dead Chinese lay strewn outside the bunkers, and 20 to 25 wounded soldiers trying to flee the scene. Meanwhile, the relief column had arrived at the scene, unaware of the events that had transpired moments ago. After a brief exchange of fire with the remaining Chinese troops, they moved forward. In all, 70 soldiers were rescued, and 170 weapons were recovered. Major Tufail had not only eliminated 25 well-equipped Chinese soldiers, he had also forced the rest to abandon their positions, thus saving many more lives of his comrades. For his conspicuous gallantry and leadership, Major Tufail Muhammad was awarded the Mahavir Chakra, the second highest wartime award in India. Here is what the citation says. For most conspicuous gallantry and leadership displayed in an assault on an entrenched position near Juba Heights. On the night of October 1958, Major Tufail Muhammad led a party of 3 to Juba Heights in an attempt to locate a route for the relief column. When the party was about to return, they were spotted by the enemy, and an intense fire was opened on them. Major Tamali immediately ordered his party to disperse and open a counter-ambush. Seizing the opportunity presented to him, he charged and destroyed 4 strongly defended bunkers, single-handedly with grenades, and killed or wounded many of the enemy. By his daring action, he enabled the relief column to reach the besieged troops and save many valuable lives. Throughout this operation, Major Tufail displayed conspicuous bravery and an inspiring example of leadership. Although very little was known about this major after this incident, reports say that he was killed in action in 1967 during the Indo-Pak War. His body was never recovered, and he was declared missing in action. Before we move on, let us take a look at some interesting facts about this unsung hero. Born on September 11, 1923, Major Tovari was commissioned into the 10th Punjab Regiment in 1942. He fought in the Korean War, where his unit defended the UN battle group commanded by General Douglas MacArthur against Chinese aggression. He was part of the defense of Chorwan in the Battle of Hill Erie, where his unit held off thousands of Chinese soldiers. Later, he was mentioned in dispatches for his actions during the war. In fact, his citation for the Mahavir Chakra specifically mentions his experience in the Korean War, which goes on to show how highly the Indian Army regarded his actions there. According to reports, he was a recipient of the UN Korean War Service Medal and was promoted to the rank of major during the war itself. Post-Korea, he returned home and was involved in the planning and execution of the 1965 war with Pakistan. While defending India's western borders against the Pakistani army, he led a company of paratroopers at the Battle of Chawinda. During the battle, his unit repelled several Pakistani armored assaults. Later, he became the commanding officer of 10 Punjab and was posted at the Siachen Glacier. During the winter of 1984, according to reports, he suggested using helicopters to resupply troops stationed at the glacier. At the time, the Siachen base did not have a helipad, so supplies had to be transported on foot. Unfortunately, those in command did not agree with his suggestion. Major Tufail stayed back at the base to coordinate the supply drop and encourage the men. Soon, however, the base came under heavy fire. Major Tufail picked up his rifle and, along with the JCO, tried to shift to a safer location, but he was hit by a bullet and collapsed. Although evacuated quickly to the military hospital, he succumbed to his wounds. We may never know what happened to his remains, but his deeds live on in the annals of Indian Army history. Friends, this brings us to the end of another video. Please do share your feedback and comments. Thank you for watching. We will be back soon with another exciting episode. Until then, stay tuned.